Many families of color say their children do not feel like they belong or let alone feel safe in the La Crosse community, especially in their school's walls. For a number of days, I've been in close contact and spoke to those families who tell me they want their invisible voices to be brought to light. Here is what those parents and students want from their school officials.
La Crosse is not this perfect little town where everybody's equal and it's all sunshine and rainbows.
We love you, Black Women's March. No one deserves 7 shots in their back.
In the midst of the nationwide political climate we live in regarding Black Lives Matter and the protest asking to defund the police, tensions are high, and racial injustice is the biggest topic.
We are being killed. Please help us.
Youth in the La Crosse area have been vocal about the social inequities and disturbing school experiences they've dealt with.
My scars on the inside and the outside, to me, are battle scars.
Ready? Yeah, go like this.
Brianna Washington says she and other kids of color have been called racial slurs on school grounds and believes school officials did not handle it effectively.
All she could do, since I didn't want to give out the names because I knew the kids were going to harass me if they knew it was me, and all they did was have the coach tell them, hey, if I catch you saying this, you're going to be benched for 1 game.
Brianna's father, Demarius, says he didn't know his daughter was being bullied at school.
She told me that a kid called her the N-word, and the school didn't really do much to this kid for the incident that happened. You know, I just think for them to have to do a protest to get their voices heard is ridiculous.
D'Ariana Heron says in order to not get picked on, she became friends with white kids.
I've had people be my friends just so I can have a better image. And when I realized that, it broke me. Because I shouldn't have to be friends with somebody who's white just so I can have a better image at other people.
Because it's not fixing a problem.
Among the students of color working to make their voices heard are sisters Mia and Kaya Davis. They have a group at their school called Black Student Leaders.
We just want kids to feel comfortable in their school.
The group's goal is to educate faculty and peers about racism and to lift up students of color.
Why do we have to keep educating our educators, you know?
Exactly.
Why are we standing up for problems that should have been solved?
The girls say they don't think their teachers recognize the importance of this group and its potential.
We have a problem where teachers will talk down on our group, so that gives the students the okay to talk down on our group.
Now that you've heard the voices from students and families, tomorrow evening I will share part 2 of this important discussion, which entails responses from school officials. Melissa Murray, principal at Lincoln Middle School and supervisor for the district's Cultural and Family Connections program, says racism exists inside the walls of La Crosse schools.
Do our children of color in the school district and in the community in general experience racism? Yes, they do.
Murray says most teachers shy away from the topic of race because they do not have the lived experience as a person of color.
No one wants to be racist, and no one's a big word. You know, most people don't want to be racist. They don't want to be accused of being racist. They don't want to be accused of being hateful towards another group of people. And so we find ways to not be hateful and to not be racist. And then what ends up happening is rather than addressing that issue within ourselves, we end up being the exact thing that we're trying to avoid being.
That's the problem, because nobody wants to acknowledge that this is a problem. No one wants to learn about it because they're just not ready for that kind of topic.
As of 2019 to 2020, statewide, there are over 2,100 public schools. Student enrollment is over 850,000. And out of those students, minority combined make up 30%, while white students make up a little over 68%. These youth say they want to normalize being Black in La Crosse.
We want kids to realize that it's okay to be African American, because we have a lot of kids that they've lived here so long that they don't know what it is to be Black for sure, and they're not taking in their color fully, you know.
They're
not embracing it.
It's hard. It really is hard.
Murray says it's not the district's job to provide training opportunities to bring equity in the classroom, but incumbent on the individual teacher.
Giving teachers as individuals, as small groups, as collective groups, the resources and opportunity to do a lot of this work on their own and with people that they trust and with support from their building administrator and their other colleagues and the staff at the district office. That's where I really think that we're headed.
It's those tough conversations about race that will encourage change.
That's the thing about change. Change is not perfect, you know. It's not consistent, exactly. And, you know, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's messy, but that's what you need to get to a better place.
If we don't allow the children to have some of those conversations, we end up in the same place 20 years from now.
My daughters are leaders.
Parents say they are proud of their kids for speaking up for themselves.
Listening to these kids speak, I mean, it's amazing. This generation speaks up for themselves. They say what they want, you know. If the school district starts to listen to the concerns of the children of color here in La Crosse, we can make lots of changes big time.
The youth say they just want to be heard.
They have to just listen to our stories.
Yeah.
That's the best thing they could do is just listen.
Murray says achieving equity in the classroom will take open ears and open hearts.
When kids say and families say, it feels like our teachers don't care about us, I don't see that at all. Our teachers care deeply, but I think we struggle a little bit to take on a perspective that is so far removed from who we are and from what our own experiences are. And so that makes it really difficult to connect sometimes with our families and our kids of color.